Hello everyone, I'm Kayla and I'm a shamanic healer, an alchemist and a channel. And every single week I do a free card reading to give you some guidance and support for your week ahead. This week happens to be New Year, and so I decided to actually do a reading for the year ahead. So what follows is me going through certain themes that are going to strongly come up for us this year. And I'm joined by this beautiful dog here called Kawak. And before I dive in, I just want to remind you that there are still some spots left on my Sacred Alchemy Circle. And this is a 3-month journey that I am inviting 12 beautiful souls to take with me. This is about alchemy. This is about learning how to connect with your soul self at will. This is about understanding how to transform your emotional state from one place to another at will. This is about being able to listen to the song of the universe as it pours through your heart. Now, if this is something that resonates for you, you can go to www.arkayla.love/circle and learn more. If you are meant to be there, then you will, and I look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, let's talk about 2025. So I'm just going to tune in and see what core themes are going to come up for us this year. So the first one that's coming through really clearly, this energy of activation that's coming in. And I feel like this is going to be very apparent in the beginning part of this year, like January is coming through very, very clearly. And this activation is really coming from the amount of sunlight, light energy that we are receiving on the planet from the sun. So that some of you will know about the corona ejections that we've been experiencing, and I feel like this is going to just be continuing this year. That was a really big theme for last year, and it will continue this year. However, we will experience this light in a very different way. Last year it came through in a very raw way. It was very abrasive almost. And it was necessary because a lot of us were in patterns of existence that were not in alignment with our true soul self desires. And this energy came in really strongly and very aggressively really, but necessarily so because it would push us into experiences that made these patterns very obvious to us, that made us face parts of ourselves that we were familiar with, to a degree that we didn't want to break these patterns because they felt safe to us. But this really powerful and somewhat aggressive light energy that was just coming in these big waves last year really did shake us up and force us to make new decisions. We will experience a lot of light coming through this year. However, the way we will receive it will be dramatically different. The way we're going to receive this light this year is in a much more accepting and almost placid way. And it will come through a lot through our dream time again, but mainly through creativity. There's going to be a lot of creative inspiration that comes through this year. Creativity is going to be a massive theme for this year. And the light that's coming in is going to manifest particularly in ways around how we perceive things. And though this sounds similar to last year was more about seeing where we were stuck. This year, it's about seeing how we can expand. It's about seeing the pathway that is becoming open for us and how we can play with that pathway in a way that feels exciting to us, a way that feels expansive. It's like pathways are going to open, opportunities are going to come our way, and immediately we're going to be inspired as to how to work with these opportunities in a way that feels super good to us and exhilarating to the people involved. So it's going to be this really co-creative, beautiful experience. There's going to be a lot of mother energy coming through with this light theme. And that means that a lot of inner child healing is going to take place. Because through these big light waves that again will continue this year, we will receive these light waves, yes, as I've said, through creativity, through expansion, but also in ways that will bring forth the nurturing parts of who we are, our own sacred mother, the sacred feminine within us that calls us forth to really move from the heart, and not just toward other people, but actually primarily to ourselves. In fact, this is what's coming through very strongly. It's an invitation for us to really understand self-love in a much more tangible and more manifest way. Self-love seems often like a frivolous thing. Go have a massage, or you might take yourself on holiday. Self-love really is about deep acceptance of all the parts of you. And this can be a very tricky journey for us because there's lots of parts of ourselves that we struggle with in truth. And what's coming through here is that this journey of self-love is going to really open up for a lot of us this year in a very gentle way. We're going to come into an awareness of who we are, not because of how people perceive us or what people say about us. It's actually more through our own experience of ourselves. We will have these moments of introspection and reflection, which will help us perceive ourselves through this new lens, a lens of maternal appreciation, and a place that will naturally just come from the heart in a very gentle and accepting way. Another big invitation for this year is going to be our relationship with the planet, our relationship with nature. I feel that particularly amongst our younger people, we're going to see a real trend, a real burst of a generational response to nature in a very strong way. Young people are going to really come out, so to speak, as being big advocates of nature. And I don't just mean making environmental stances, though that will definitely be part of it, but more there will be a manifest example offered by the younger people on this planet of how to interact with nature in a much more harmonious and reciprocating way, in a way whereby we, as the older members of our society, will perceive nature differently by watching how they interact with it. They are going to help us understand the mother quality of nature. They are going to be able to demonstrate to us how one can interact with the natural world in a way that feels so much more profound. Another theme that's going to strongly appear this year is around our relationship with our ancestors. So this will be in how our indigenous communities start to have greater and greater influence on the collective mentality. Indigenous communities have an inbuilt understanding of the importance of eldership, but most importantly, understanding what eldership is. Eldership is not being old. Eldership is about wisdom keeping. It is about people who have had a vast amount of experience, not only of the world, but of themselves, and have come to places of deep understanding about themselves, within themselves and in their community, and hold this wisdom and knowledge with great reverence, and are sources of great support for the younger members of their community. Indigenous peoples understand the value of this kind of knowledge and wisdom, whereas a lot of the Western culture has really lost this understanding, largely because older people are very much maligned in our societies. And this year is going to be about reawakening the importance of eldership, the importance of our ancestors and how they influence us, and also a year of reckoning in many ways. I feel there will be a lot of communities, particularly where there has been colonialization, there will be points of reckoning. And this doesn't need to be a violent or aggressive thing. I think it will be, or it feels like it's going to be more about consciously showing up in the right way. And that's going to be on both sides of the fence. So those who have felt maligned and suppressed and subjugated, first being heard, being acknowledged by those who are now in power, and not only being heard by them, but actually being really acknowledged, honored, and valued. I feel like there is going to be a shift in the power play between these two oppositions, really, and sort of a middle ground emerging, a very delicate, fragile middle ground, which is going to be built on within the years that follow. But this whole energy around the ancients of this planet awakening in all their different forms. And this is going to move also into obviously a much more energetic space. So the themes I've just mentioned there are going to be core themes that move throughout the year. So the next thing that's coming through very strongly here is really focused on those of us who are already very invested in our self-expansion, our self-inquiry, our spiritual journey, if you like. And what's coming through here is that this is going to be a really big year for us, because I'm definitely one of those people. And so I'm just going to go through the themes that are coming up for this kind of echelon of society. And so firstly, what's coming through here is this sense of validity. We are going to feel able to validate ourselves in ways we have not felt able to before. Not because of the people around us changing, but because we feel able to do that now. We feel strong enough within ourselves to validate and trust and support our deep understanding and knowing of who we are on a multi-dimensional level in our day-to-day life experience. And for some of us, this experience in and of itself is going to lead to a really deep clearing. A clearing of attachments that we have held to the beliefs that we are not worthy to be fully accepted by those around us. And as we come into the full witnessing of this belief, we will, in that process, be able to transform it and alchemize it, thus releasing ourselves from the attachment of that misunderstanding that our worthiness is dependent on how others perceive us. And so as we step into this sense of greater freedom, for indeed that is exactly what will manifest as we let go of these stories around how our families perceive us, how our friends or our colleagues perceive us, as we let go of the importance that we attach to their perception of us, as we continue to find ourselves more and more able to simply accept ourselves, because truly that's really what that's all about, our vision will become clearer. In fact, sight is a really big theme for us this year. The sight of wisdom, clarity, the sight of being able to see things from a higher perspective, to see things from a place of greater wisdom, the ability to see through our own stories and the stories of those around us, the ability to see into our own patterns, see into our own projections, and to see into our own future, to be able to feel our way. These are experiences that will become easier for us this year. Our inner sight and our external sight are going to become much clearer because of the continual transformation, alchemy of these internal beliefs we've been holding on to that no longer serve us. There is going to be a lot more awakening. So this means that those of you who are already well and truly on this path, your gifts, your abilities are going to continue to expand as you continue to create greater and greater safety in your body. As you do that, your body will be able to hold more and more light. As we release ourselves from fear, we create space for light to enter. As that happens, our multidimensional selves become more and more activated. The gifts, I do this because they're not gifts. We're incredibly powerful avatars. We can do many, many unbelievable things. We just haven't had the metaphysical abilities activated because of the energies we've been maintaining. And as those energies become less and less manifest, we as multidimensional beings will become much, much more metaphysically aligned and capable, which means that we'll be able to do more things, essentially. And that might look like multidimensional travel, it might look like psychic skills, it might look like, you name it, things that we actually haven't even seen on this planet fully for many, 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 many years will start to happen again. We'll be able to do all kinds of metaphysical wonders, and it will become normalized. That's what this is, that's the direction this is all heading in. We have a deep need to be special whilst our ego is still trying to find our value in the world. But as we embody our own value, as we come into deeper and deeper acceptance and appreciation of ourselves, it is not special we will seek. It is our deep understanding of our own unique qualities. And these unique qualities will come in all forms. And this is what's going to really start to activate this year. In this process, we will have to let go of things. And this isn't about sacrifice. This is about making space. The more that we expand, the more that we open, the more necessary it is for us to let go of that which no longer serves us. And that can just be the ideas or beliefs we've held about ourselves. Or it could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be a physical location. All of these things, whatever flows in, that is being invited to let go, let go. It will be uncomfortable on varying degrees. But the more you can let go, the more you can let in. Equally, there will be an opportunity for you to let things in that could be just as challenging as letting things go. And this will become apparent to you as you take this journey. There will be times where someone or something will want to come into your life, and that might scare you on a very old level. And that's around receiving and worthiness and all these different beautiful parts of you being activated because they're ready to hold more. Another invitation is going to be around the way you relate to your physicality, the way you relate to your beautiful temple of a body. Your body is your sacred temple. And this is just on a personal note. I have really been sitting with, our need for altars that we create often at ceremonies, etc. And as beautiful as they are, and as much as I love them and do them with great devotion, I'm so fully aware that I am the temple. That every single one of us is the temple, that this beautiful natural world is the ultimate temple. And so the invitation really is to find the sacredness in your physical temple, and to also observe your mind, which is a temple, and the flowers or thoughts you might be placing upon that altar in the temple of your mind. And so there's going to be a real shift in our culture this year around our relationship with our physicality. It's going to shift away from beauty and more into devotion, because actually this is the gauge that, when it's shifted, creates health, vitality, and true beauty that comes from the inside out, that is immeasurable and priceless and spellbinding. And that is going to become more and more obvious to all of us, and more attractive to all of us. And in fact, all of the layers that many of us use to create beauty or to fit in will become less and less attractive as we feel the incongruence of what that represents energetically when married next to true self-devotion, true self-honoring, which will become the ultimate version and understanding of beauty. This year is also going to offer us a really deep opportunity to connect with our wild selves. A friend once said to me, when you put a dog in the wild, it becomes a wolf. And many of us have lost our connection with our wild selves. We are all wild in some way. Every single one of us has a wild nature. And we have been misled in many ways that this is a naughty thing, something to be judged and suppressed, and it often gets wound completely into our understanding of our shadow selves, our shadow understandings of ourselves. And actually our wildness is our playfulness, it's our childlike wonder given free rein. And often people only experience their wildness these days when they're inebriated on some level, toxified on some level. And this is not to be judged or shamed. This is about someone seeking to reconnect with their wild nature. This is about someone really seeking joy and freedom within themselves, often freedom from their own thoughts, their own self-sabotage. And so this wild twin that is going to arise for some of us this year is going to have a really big invitation attached to it, to really dig deeper, to really explore yourself, to give yourself more freedom, to cut ties. It's going to be, for some of us, a really big invitation to leap into what we perceive as maybe chaos. And this will be how we will reconnect with our wild nature. And so this is something to keep in mind for when that invitation comes, to give yourself permission to reconnect with your wild nature. There is going to be a really big shift around our relationship with the masculine. We're going to move as a collective, as we've been doing with our feminine, we're going to be moving into a much greater understanding of our divine masculine. And for me, my relationship with my masculine has been coming to the understanding that the part of me that will catch myself if I'm about to judge myself or be hard on myself or push myself too far or take advantage of myself, the part of me that now steps in and says, "Whoa, tiger, not necessary, you're enough." I've come to understand that this is my divine masculine. It's a part of me that's drawing a boundary, that's creating protection, that's helping me stay grounded. It's also the part of me that gently inspires me and cheers me on in what I create and offer to the world. It's also the part of me that helps me manage my practical tasks, my chores, my finances. These are all the gentle, loving aspects of my sacred masculine in balance. My toxic masculine, I've come to understand, is the part of me that judges me, that scolds me, that shames me. And so this invitation that's going to come this year is a shift, an internal shift. Because we do love to project everything outside of ourselves, but really the feminine and the masculine are in each of us. And each of us is being invited to move into a much softer understanding of our masculine. That is still so powerful, so supportive, and so grounding. And this is foreign to us. We've been conditioned to nag ourselves, to not be enough. And this is where this big shift is going to occur. Giving ourselves permission to just show up and protect and support and encourage and ground ourselves from our divine masculine, from our caretaker within. And now stepping out of this area that was really directed at those who are already actively on the spiritual journey, and now talking more generally again. There will be death this year. There will be the ending of things, of life, of institutions, of systems. And it will be painful, and it will be really scary maybe at times. But this is when we're really invited to embrace our true nature. It's when the rubber hits the road, so to speak. When we're invited to really embody our belief systems that we've been cultivating. That this life is one of many. And any death that's occurring is only the precursor to new life. It's just the most natural part of the evolutionary wheel. And our ability to let go of our need to hold on, even to life in some cases, will be thrown into great question this year. All with the divine desire to help us let go. Let go of our fear of survival. And to embrace the effortless power and grace of the life and death cycle that is existence. And so when you are bearing witness to death, know that you are also bearing witness to birth, to new life, to creation. And so I just want now to speak to what you might call older energy, older paradigm perspectives, because obviously there's a lot of that in the world right now. And some of the themes that are coming up around that frequency, that vibration. And firstly, relationship with money. This is going to shift for a lot of people who are very entrenched in certain patterns of thinking, of survival. And this is going to be a detachment, the beginning rather, of a detachment from money and self-worth. This is where we are going to start bearing witness to people who have been very much about money, changing gear, and recognizing that money is not the be-all and end-all, and that money is actually just like any other energy. It's another relationship. And that their relationship with it has been toxic and self-depleting. And so this is actually going to be the foundations for a big shift that is going to occur in what we might call a more older paradigm of operating. And what will happen is that this will lead to individuals coming into a greater desire for balance, a greater desire for introspection, but most importantly, a greater desire to balance their work-life ratio. And what this will really be symptomatic of is a deep awakening that will start to occur on the inside, which is occurring for many of us already. Many of you watching this, I realize, have already had this. This is for those who really are not there yet. And this is going to be a very challenging experience for a lot of people, very scary experience for a lot of people. And a lot of people will withdraw, and a lot of people will behave poorly. And they will do this because they are scared. And when we're scared and insecure, and when what we've been holding on to for our sense of safety feels like it's slipping from our fingers, we react in ways that are not optimum. And so this is really something for us all to bear in mind, not just in our personal lives, but on the public stage, on the global stage, when we see people behaving poorly, to try to find a level of compassion and understanding. We have all been there, not necessarily done the things they've done, but we've all shown up in ways we wish we hadn't, for various reasons. And this is going to be an invitation for us as well as for them. And there will be some who will awaken from this energy and awaken rapidly and move straight into the path of ascension very, very quickly, astoundingly so. And these people will be very obvious to us because of the shift they will make. In fact, Jim Carrey comes to mind. People, there will be more of this kind of shift, very dramatic, very swift, and they will just kind of get it, so to speak, and change gears rapidly. And these are simply very, very old souls who, though stuck in the old energy for quite some time, have been performing certain acts which have been of service to themselves and the collective whilst maintaining that older, denser energy. And now, this year, will come to really powerful space of awakening and opening and shifting really, really fast. It will be breathtaking to bear witness to. And they will become sharers of great wisdom and blaze a trail for many of us to follow and learn from. Actually, the word follow there, this is going to change, this whole following dynamic. This relationship we have with celebrity is really going to start to shift as a lot of this older paradigm energy starts to awaken. We have certain threads of energy that relate back to different parts of our collective history, some of which were very slave oriented. And this subjugation, this devotion, you could say, misplaced devotion, this kind of energy is still visible in the way that we follow celebrities in our culture. This energy is very present because it's something that is actually being healed in the collective. This belief that we need to follow another to become like them, because that's actually what's going on. If I emulate this person enough, maybe I'll become as successful or as loved or as powerful or as beautiful as them. And these structures are going to start to disintegrate as we will come into a deeper and deeper desire to understand and appreciate ourselves as individuals. And this again is going to come from the inside. This is an awakening process. It's going to come from the inside. And along with this will begin a trend of people seeking to travel on their own, to do the whole eat, pray, love journey on their own. And this is going to really become apparent from that older paradigm, older energy, where people will really start to wake up and I want to leave this corporate job. I want to move out of the city. This is going to happen not because of COVID now, but because of this inner desire that they can't suppress any longer. That's going to just start to get stronger and stronger. Okay, so a few final messages. There will be conflict. And this is necessary because in this conflict there will be the seeds of transformation planted, and these seeds of transformation are going to have much longer reaching effects than we can really understand at this time. So as we bear witness to the conflict that will rage in some parts of this planet, we are invited to understand that there is a bigger process at play here, that there is an energetic momentum that has been cultivated over centuries that is coming into culmination now. And actually, this is a profound healing on this planet at this time. And though heartbreaking, it is so necessary and will be transformative for the generations to come. It is, even as it says on this card, an awakener. It is an awakener. A deep, powerful reflection of the awakening that is taking place on this planet. And in this same flow of profound shift, there is going to be a very big change in the way that we relate to storytelling, in the way that we deliver news across this planet, the way that we approach the telling of stories has come from a place of fear for a very long time, if not centuries now. And this is going to change this year. The last few years have been the seeds of this, and this year we're going to really see particular people in the news arena start to make powerful, positive change on how news is distributed across the planet. Our relationship with sex is going to change. The porn industry, one of the most destructive vibrations on the planet at this time, is going to start to shift. Because our relationship with sex, our relationship with our bodies is all going to change. Particularly in our relationship to how we connect with our sexual energy, how we experience joy within our bodies. And this is going to lead to a much greater understanding of how we can start to physically express ourselves. People are going to start dancing and singing and expressing themselves, not because they're singers or dancers, but because it feels good. Feeling good inside yourself is going to become the priority. There are 3 particular areas that we are being guided to support ourselves with this year. One is around creating ceremony. So this is about ritual. This is about honoring your food before you eat it. It might be as simple as just saying thank you, or it could be something deeper. It could just be connecting with where your food has come from and being grateful to the people who've enabled it to come to your plate. Or just honoring Mother Nature. It could be as simple as saying something positive to yourself every day in the morning. Being grateful to the sunrise. Being grateful to your body. Little rituals throughout your day. The invitation is for you to start to cultivate ritual. And this is about you beginning to understand how valuable you are. Not from a sense of monetary value, from a sense of unique, beautiful perspective. There is no one on this earth like you. No one has lived your life. The way that you perceive this world is unique to you, and therefore the more you feel encouraged and supported to share you, however you might want to do that, the more we all benefit. And these little rituals will just help you get into a practice of honoring yourself, your space, and your life. So ritual is a really big invitation for us. Also, our ability to rise up. Now, this is something that has been cultivated over the last few years, since COVID, essentially. It is our ability to rise up out of the ashes. Because there's been a lot of fires. There has been a lot of challenge in the last 4 years. But actually, this year is about us not only being able to rise up once more, but becoming so comfortable because we become so able to trust ourselves to do it, that we feel so much safer in ourselves because of it. And so, bearing witness to your ability to rise up no matter what challenges you face, and to honor yourself for your resilience, for your capacity to hold greater and greater space for life, and in the process, greater and greater space for your own soul light to shine. And finally, an invitation to honor water. Now, I know I mentioned this when I talked about rituals, but water is such a powerful source of inspiration, if nothing else. When you watch how water moves naturally, it flows and it ebbs. And this is such a potent example for us in how to live. Sometimes we need to slow down, and sometimes we need to run. And sometimes we need to just be a thin little trickle, and sometimes we need to be an abundant flow. And you can pour perfume or urine into water and it will accept all of it with ease. And so think about your relationship with water this year, and it will start to really help you transform the way that you relate to life. So these are some themes that are coming through for all of us this year. I hope that they are of service, and I wish you all the very, very best for 2025. So much love to you, and see you again soon.